वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ॐ Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Pranams from Dr. R.J. Kalpana. Welcome to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. In this session, we will continue our study of Chapter 10, VibhutiYoga. Shloka 10. On those ever united through devotion with me and worshipping me with love, I confer that yoga of wisdom through which they come to me. So Krishna says that the only means by which we can access the divine is through devotion, bhakti. Constant, intense, unswerving love and loyalty to the divine, upon which we will receive the wisdom, the knowledge that is necessary for us to transcend this world of mortality into the realms of the immortal ones. Shloka 11. In order to shower my grace on them, I, dwelling in their heart, dispel the darkness born of ignorance by the shining light of wisdom. This shloka, in its essence, encapsulates the necessity of why we meditate on our heart. The heartfulness meditation gives us the methodology by which we meditate on the divine light in our hearts. It has been sourced from this particular shloka, where Krishna directly tells us that I dwell in your hearts, I am present in your hearts, ever ready to dispel the darkness which is born out of ignorance by the light of wisdom. And therefore we all sit in meditation on the divine light in our hearts, and one day, hopefully, we will be able to realize the divine presence within us. Shloka 12 and 13. Arjuna said, You are the transcendent eternal, the supreme abode and the greatest purifier. All the seers speak of you as the eternal divine Purusha, the primal deity, unborn and all-pervading. Likewise speak the celestial sage Narada, the sages Asita and Devala, and the great sage Vyasa, and yourself too proclaim this to me. So in these two shlokas, Krishna addresses Arjuna and says, Arjuna addresses Krishna and says that you are the divine light, the eternal, the greatest purifier. Everybody, all the great seers, all the celestials, all speak of you and address you as that eternal divine Purusha, the all-pervading primal deity, the first mind, Krishna, you too say that of yourself. Now, here we have to remember that Mahabharata took place at the time period where the humans still had the capacity to travel across dimensions. They were able to access the celestial regions above and the dimensions below. Arjuna spent time in Swargaloka. Arjuna also spent time in Nagaloka. And therefore he can speak with some authority and a subject of knowingness of what the celestials and what the great sages and seers speak about. Shloka 14. Krishna, I believe as true all that you tell me, Lord. Neither demons nor gods are aware of your manifestation through sport. So here Arjuna is affirming what Krishna has said in the earlier shlokas, that neither the gods nor the seas are aware of my origins, because they too were born out of my will. And therefore Arjuna says that I believe you. I believe that you are the first mind, and the gods and the celestials and the seers and the sages have all come after you. They were born out of your will, and therefore they are unaware of your various incarnations. Shloka 15. O Creator of beings, O Ruler of creatures, God of gods, the Lord of the universe, O Supreme Purusha, you alone know what you are by yourself. Now the extensive use of adjectives used in this shloka, Arjuna is seeking to convey to Krishna that he understands the immutability, the imperishability, the eternal nature of Krishna, and to acknowledge that whatever he knows is still limited, and that only the divine knows itself completely. Shloka 16. Therefore, you alone can describe in full your divine glories, whereby you stand pervading all these worlds. And finally, Arjuna comes to the crux of the matter, and so he says, while I believe you're eternal, you're immutable, you're omnipresent, but only you can describe the full extent of your reach. Only you can describe your glorious manifestations, where you pervade across the universes. Shloka 17. O Master of Yoga, through what process of continuous meditation shall I know you? And in what particular forms, O Lord, are you to be meditated upon by me? Here Arjuna is asking the question to Krishna, and it is interesting to note here that he addresses Krishna as the Master of Yoga, because the question is very specific. It is not a general question. So he says, you are the Master of Yoga. So therefore, what methodology should I adopt in order for me to know you? What process of continuous meditation shall I know you? Arjuna questions. And you have so many manifestations, you have so many incarnations. So, in which particular form should I meditate upon you? Shloka 18. Krishna, tell me once more in detail your power of yoga and your glory, for I know no satiety in hearing your nectar-like words. Arjuna once again addresses the Bhagavan as Krishna. So from Krishna, he addresses him as creator of beings, master of yoga, and once again he brings him down to the level of Krishna, his friend, and says, and takes the liberty to saying, tell me once more in detail this power of yoga that you have and all your glory. I cannot have enough of it. I want to continuously keep hearing your nectar-like words and your voice. I'm never satisfied. And in response to this prayer of Arjuna, the Bhagavan gives a detailed and a full description of his power of yoga and his glory, the limitless range of his magnitude. Shloka 19, Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, now I shall tell you my conspicuous divine glories, for there is no limit to my magnitude. Shloka 20, Arjuna, I am the universal self seated in the heart of all beings, so I alone am the beginning and middle and also the end of all beings. Here Krishna acknowledges that he is the divine presence that exists in every human being as the causal body. And once again, please note where he says, seated in the heart of all beings. This is so much more important. He doesn't say seated between the eyebrows, the tip of the nose, the top of the head. All the methodologies that ancient yoga techniques that are used and that are still very much prevalent in India. In the Gita, Krishna says, I am seated in the heart of all beings. Look into your heart and find me. Because I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. The beginning, he is the creator. Every soul has sprung forth, was born out of his will. And at the time of dissolution, every soul once more is withdrawn into him. He is the root cause and substratum of all. Even the middle, when we are busy with our middling lives, we create messes and expect the divine powers to help us out of those messes. Even then, he is present with us. Shloka 21. I am Vishnu among the 12 sons of Aditi, and the radiant sun among the luminaries. I am the glow of the Maruts and the moon among the stars. And so from this shloka onwards, Krishna speaks about his various manifestations in this world. So Aditi is the wife of Kashyapa. Now sage Kashyapa, one of the Sapta Rishis, the seven seers, had two wives, Aditi and Diti. Now essentially, as we saw in the earlier shlokas, the sages were also entrusted with the task of populating the world. And so Aditi brought forth the Devas and Diti brought forth the Asuras. So amongst the 12 sons of Aditi, Dhata, Mitra, Aryama, Indra, Varuna, Amsha, Bhagha, Vivasvan, Pusha, Savita, Tvasta, and Vishnu, the divine identifies himself with Vishnu, the chief of them, and says, I am Vishnu. Amongst the luminous objects of the sun, the fires, etc., the divine chooses Aditya, the sun, the radiant, glorious sun, as carrying the divine principle. I am the glow of the Maruts, the 49 wind gods. Now here, as I said, the other wife of Kashyapa, the Diti, who brought forth the Asuras, perturbed and upset at the constant loss of her children in the hands of Indra, because the Asuras were always at war with Indra. She seeks a boon of her husband, Kashyapa. And Kashyapa says that, hold the fetus in your womb for 100 years, observing strict purity and restraint, and then you will be gifted with one who is capable of destroying Indra himself. When Indra comes to know of this, he has to take action. So he takes his Vajrayudha, the thunderbolt, and splits the fetus into 7. And when the fetus is split, it raises a loud cry called Marodihi. Indra addresses the fetus, hush, hush, child. And in Sanskrit it is Marodihi, don't cry. And from there the term Marud came into being. And the more Indra tried to destroy the fetus, the more the fetus split, eventually ending up with 49. And they were consequently they were known as the 49 wind gods, the Maruts. Now, scientifically, there are 49 types of wind. I will not go into all the 49, but to give an example, we have the summer wind, the northern breeze, the monsoon wind, the Arctic wind, and so on and so forth. So from now onwards, every shloka at one level, it might give you a lot of Hindu names and might seem symbolic. They all have deeply scientific reasons behind them. I will be disclosing a few of those signs behind, and the rest it's up to the curious to do further research or wait for another episode from me where I will take some more time and explains the science behind it. So, Shloka 22. Among the Vedas, I am Samaveda. Among the gods, I am Indra. Among the organs of perception, I am the mind. I am the consciousness in living beings. So here, amongst the four Vedas, Rik, Yajur, Sama and Atharva, Krishna references Samaveda because Samaveda contains very detailed shlokas of the divine, and it is the only Veda that is sung. All the other Vedas are recited. Now he calls upon Indra as himself because Indra is the chief of the celestials. Now, amongst the organs of perception, the Karmendriyas and the Jnanendriyas, Krishna identifies himself with Manas, mind, because it is only with the presence of the mind that we are able to perceive things. Merely having eyes and ears and nose doesn't really tell us anything. Yes? We can see the trees and the blue sky, but it is the mind that is helping us understand the concept of the blue sky, of the green trees. It is the mind that is connecting the dots for us constantly. The smell of the salt in the sea breeze. If we did not have, and there have been cases where people undergo brain surgery while they are perfectly functioning at a human level, at a physical level, there is a disconnect with the mind. They might eat the food that is placed in front of them, but it is only at a physical, mechanical level. Because there is a disconnect, something has been tampered with, and they are unable to connect the dots, to explain, to cogitate. The cognitive ability that is required takes place only in the mind, and therefore Krishna identifies himself with the mind. And I am the consciousness in the living beings. The prana, the life force that is essential for matter to come into life. When a baby is born, the first few seconds that it is out of the womb is very critical. If the baby does not cry, if it is silent, there is a panic in the operation theatre. What do the surgeons do? They immediately hold the baby upside down by its feet and gently tap the baby. And once the baby sets out a cry, then there is a great relief in the delivery room, because the prana has come forth. and the baby is alive. So that prana, the life energy in the living beings, is nothing but the divine. Shloka 13. Among the 11 Rudras, I am Shiva. Among the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of riches, Kubera. Among the 8 Vasus, I am the god of fire. Among the mountains, I am Meru. So amongst the 11 Rudras, the Rudras are known as the gods of destruction, the destruction of ego, the destruction of evil, the setting forth that which is necessary at the time of dissolution to destroy in order to create once again. So amongst the 11 Rudras, Hara, Baharupa, Trayambaka, Aparajita, Vrishakapi, Shambhu, Kapardi, Raivata, Mrigavyadha, Sarva and Kapali. Of these 11, Shambhu or Shankara or Shiva is considered to be the divine himself. Among the Yakshas and Rakshasas, Kubera, the lord of the riches, he is the Lokapala, and therefore Krishna identifies himself with him. Among the 8 Vasus, Dhara, Dhruva, Soma, Aha, Anila, Anala, Pratyusha and Prabhasa, Anala or the god of fire is the chief among them and is responsible for carrying oblations to the gods, and therefore he is regarded as the mouth of the god, and therefore Krishna identifies him as being the divine himself. The Meru mountain is believed to be at the center of the entire universe. It contains the highest peaks in the world. And therefore, it has been declared to be the very self of the Lord. Shloka 23. Among the priests, Arjuna, know me to be their chief, Brihaspati. Among warrior chiefs, I am Skanda, and among the waters, I am the ocean. Brihaspati is the chief of the 7 rishis, the Sapta rishis, in the 2nd Manvantara, and therefore he is the spiritual preceptor of Indra, and he taught the Vedas, etc., to Vamana Avatara, when the divine came down to snub the arrogance, to cull the arrogance and ego of Mahabali. It was said that it was Brihaspati who taught him, because Vamana was still in the Brahmacharya mode. Amongst the warriors, the warlords and the warrior chiefs, the divine identifies himself with Skanda, the general of the gods, and amongst the waters he identifies himself with the ocean. Shloka 25. Among the great seers I am Bhrigu. Among words I am the sacred syllable Om. Among offerings I am the offering of Japa, and among the immovables the Himalaya. Again, Bhrigu is the mind-born son of Brahma and one of the Saptarishis in the first cycle, in the first Manavantara. The sacred syllable Om is the divine cosmic vibrational frequency, and amongst all the offerings, the japa, or the repetition of the divine name or the divine mantras and formulas, is one sacred manner in which to approach the divine, and therefore it is very critical for us that we be careful when we do our japa. Amongst the immovables, Sthavara, Krishna identifies himself with the Himalayas, the foremost of them, the most sacred place, as we are all well aware of, where the practice of austerities are undertaken, where the gods, the celestials themselves walk side by side with the mortals. Om Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Rajapriyam Dharma Samstapakam Viram Krishna Vande Jagat Gurum. Shri Krishna Vande Jagat Gurum. Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu.